Hello, hello. Welcome to English Extras. I'm Jean, your guide to making your English sound natural and authentic. This podcast is all about helping intermediate and advanced learners move beyond textbook phrases so you can express yourself with confidence. Want to follow along with today's episode? Check out the transcript linked in the description. It's packed with key vocabulary, definitions, example sentences, as well as links to additional resources to help you take your learning to the next level. Ready? Let's get started. Let me tell you about Christmas. Let's start in my childhood. For everyone else, the day after Thanksgiving was Black Friday, a day to wake up at the crack of dawn and go to war with the crowds to find the best deals. For me, it was the true start of the Christmas season. Inside my parents' closet, there was a door in the ceiling with a string hanging down. When you pull the string, the door lowers and you can unfold a ladder. This ladder leads up into the attic, the space at the highest point of the house, directly under the roof. It was like an oven in the summer, but in the winter, it was cool and dry. The day after Thanksgiving, while my mom braved the Black Friday crowds to buy Christmas presents for us, my brother and I went into the attic and pulled down boxes and boxes of Christmas decorations. We started, of course, with the Christmas tree. We cleared a space in the corner of the living room for it, next to the fireplace. It was always a two-person task to set up the Christmas tree, even though our Christmas tree was artificial and came in 3 detached parts. I spent a lot of time decorating it with lights, garlands, and ornaments. Our Christmas tree wouldn't have won any awards, but I was always happy with it. Then we hung up the stockings. Stockings are big, big socks that parents will fill with toys and candy, and they usually hang over a fireplace if you have one. We had a fireplace in my childhood home, so we always hung the stockings there. Outside, we placed an enormous plastic nativity scene in our little garden. We had the manger, the 3 wise men, Mary and Joseph, and of course, baby Jesus. On the front porch, on both sides of the front door, we put enormous plastic candles. In the bushes, we hung more strings of lights. Every night, someone had to remember to open the front door and plug in all the lights. I grew up in North Carolina, which had cold winters. As December began, all the leaves were gone from the trees, but we wouldn't get snow yet. It usually snowed in January or February, not December, so we never had a white Christmas, but it was still magical. My brother and I would wait anxiously for presents to start appearing under the tree as December continued. They would show up one by one. One year, my brother put a toy train on a circular track under the Christmas tree, and we used the presents to create tunnels for the train to pass through. Every year, I counted down the days to Christmas. I was so excited. It felt like it always took forever for Christmas Eve to arrive. At school, my class usually did 1 or 2 big activities for Christmas, such as singing together or making an ornament for a Christmas tree. At home, we watched Christmas movies like Home Alone. Every year, I tried to convince my dad to let us open just one present on Christmas Eve because that's what my neighbor did. But he never, ever agreed. We always had to wait for Christmas morning. On Christmas Eve, we made cookies, usually sugar cookies or chocolate chip. And before we went to bed, we put some on a plate with a glass of milk for Santa. Then we had the impossible task of falling asleep. My brother and I always woke up super early on Christmas morning. We couldn't help it. We were so excited. My parents knew this, so they let us open our stockings when we woke up. They let us do this so we didn't wake them up super early too. Our stockings were usually filled with little toys and candy, and that would keep us entertained for an hour or 2. But then we couldn't wait anymore, and we would wake our parents up so we could open presents. Opening presents in my house was a free-for-all, meaning there was very little order to the process. Usually my dad would pass out presents to each of us, and we would rip the paper off and squeal with excitement. We did this until every present was gone. Then my brothers would take all their presents upstairs, and I would usually stay downstairs and play with whatever new toys I had. By this time, it was usually light outside, and it was time for breakfast. My dad always made a big breakfast on Christmas morning, usually scrambled eggs, sausage or bacon, biscuits, hash browns, and maybe even some Danish. My dad is a great cook. My dad is still a great cook, but Christmas looks a little different for me now. I'm not a child anymore, nor do I have any children of my own. Now, I live in Florida, where Christmas is not cold. Our house doesn't have an attic. We don't have boxes and boxes of decorations. I don't get a stocking, but I still really enjoy Christmas time. And I'll tell you what my Christmases look like now. Christmas decorations start popping up outside my neighbors' houses at the beginning of November, right after Halloween. By the beginning of December, there's always one radio station playing only Christmas music, and all the shops and stores have decorated as well. As I drive down major roads, I see big white tents full of real Christmas trees. We don't put up a Christmas tree in my house. We have one, but we don't put it up simply because if we do, my cat will try to eat it. So I made a string of small green trees to hang up on the wall to give it a Christmassy feel in the house. I also light a Christmas smelling candle. I also put on Christmas music often. I love Christmas music. As I write this episode, I'm listening to Christmas music. Oh Holy Night is currently playing. At some point before Christmas, usually on a weekend, I will invite a small group of my family and friends to my house to have a decorating party. Some years we buy and decorate gingerbread houses and compete to make the most beautiful gingerbread house. Last year, I made 2 types of sugar cookies. Some in classic Christmas shapes, like an ornament or candy cane, and some in the shape of Star Wars characters. We decorated them, and my in-laws judged who had the prettiest ones. I didn't win. This year, I'm experimenting with a new chocolate chip cookie recipe, and my friends are my guinea pigs. I think I'm close to perfecting this recipe. It was already amazing before, I have to say, but I think I'm improving on perfection. This year, my husband and I have already watched a few Christmas movies. We watched Red 1 in theaters. Then at home, we watched Jingle All the Way and The Santa Claus. But at some point, we have to watch Home Alone and Prep and Landing. Maybe Christmas Eve. And maybe I can convince my husband to let us open our presents for each other on Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day. Since I know my husband doesn't listen to my podcast, I will tell you all what I bought him for Christmas. I got him 4 t-shirts. 2 of them have designs from his favorite band, and 2 of them have designs of capybaras. You know the animal, the capybara? My husband loves capybaras. He thinks they are so cool. So not only did I get him 2 capybara t-shirts, but I also got tickets to a capybara cafe in northern Florida. These tickets let you play with capybaras. I think he's going to absolutely love it. He's never met a capybara in person before, but I think he really wants to. So I think he will love his Christmas gifts. And I don't know what I'm getting for Christmas. One of my favorite things is trying to guess by touching the box, shaking it, seeing how big and how heavy it is. But my husband doesn't let me do that anymore because I'm too good at it. Now let's talk about Christmas Day. I don't wake up super early anymore like when I was a kid. Instead, it's a slow and easy morning. We rest, listen to music, relax. Then, either in the late morning or early afternoon, we go to my husband's parents' house. There, they have an enormous tree, beautifully decorated. The family gathers at their house for Christmas Day. At some point, after everyone arrives, we all sit down by the tree and open presents. Just like when I was a kid, it's a bit chaotic and messy, but always a great time. And after presents, my stepfather-in-law makes a fantastic Christmas dinner. It's usually turkey or chicken, potatoes, vegetables, bread, and maybe an apple pie for dessert. Christmas dinner is very similar to Thanksgiving dinner, really. Then Christmas is over, and we look forward to New Year's. If we lived in a colder place, there might be other activities. For example, drinking hot chocolate or making a snowman or snow angels outside. If it snowed here, we might go sledding or have a snowball fight. There's nothing quite like that feeling of being outside, nose and cheeks red with cold, and then coming inside a warm house to thaw. Christmas in general is such a magical time. It's not so magical now compared to my childhood, of course. When I was a child, I believed in Santa Claus, and I believed he came to my house with a bag of presents, ate some cookies, drank some milk, maybe left me a note, and then flew away in his sleigh, pulled by flying reindeer. It's very common for children to stop believing in Santa Claus around age 8. And that's how it was for me too. But I still enjoyed the story of Christmas, of Santa Claus and reindeer and elves making toys. There was also the story of Jesus Christ in my house as well, but I was more interested in the guy who brought me presents, I'll be honest. Like many Christian Americans, there were both stories in my childhood, Jesus Christ and Santa Claus, and Christmas was about celebrating both. So there we are, my friends. There are still details that I don't have time to talk about. Matching pajamas, ugly sweater parties, white elephant exchanges, kissing under the mistletoe. But I have to save some things to talk about in next year's Christmas episode. If you'd like to learn more about Christmas in America in general, check out the previous episode. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, everyone. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye.